Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel and welcome to another casual conversation, aka Talk Tuesday. Oh, why do things seem to change every week? I don't know if the same is true for you, but man alive, boy, it's just constant, right? Um, Last video, I think I shared with you a writing station that I created behind myself. Yeah, there's a story behind how empty it is right now, and that is because we had created a analog station. We were calling it the analog alcove, or just we called it the incubator. That's what we were calling it. Where it was going to be a table, and I'm going to put a picture up so you can see it. This is what it used to look like, and we had just made this change relatively recently. And my husband and I were really enjoying sitting there and brainstorming and working parallel to each other, but on our own projects and endeavors. And it was really going well until I realized my husband kept bringing his laptop over to that station. I thought, this is interesting. And it was a laptop that I had had like 10 years ago. I don't know why, but I just can't seem to just get rid of old electronics if they're still working, even if they are antiquated, because, they still are usable. And so my husband pulled it out and he cleared out the hard drive, did all this whiz bang stuff to it. And yeah, it's still a 10-year-old computer, but it functions for what he was using it for, which was writing. He was using or is using the laptop to jot down ideas for short stories he's wanting to write. And so I thought, this is interesting because I've been wanting him. Little backstory for those of you who don't know. He lost his job back in September of last year. And he had worked at the same company for over 24 years. And it was very much a surprise, and it was not handled well. And long story short, it was incredibly traumatic for him. And so he's really been trying to find his way. And it is very, very difficult to land a job in the field that he's in. In fact, every single person that I can think of that he worked with over the last 20 years is now, I'd say, not every single person, I'm exaggerating there, but probably a good 80 to 90% of them are currently open to work on LinkedIn. And so I gotta say, it was so good to see him actually working on something again, because I had had a heart to heart with him and told him, look, we're okay. We're okay. We have a little runway. You need to experiment and try things out, because even if it's not what you want to do, or even if it doesn't make money, it gives you clarity and direction in terms of what you enjoy, what feels right, what you could do long term. And he hasn't done that for 24 years. For 24 years, he's been working on just really becoming a jack of all trades in his previous position in order to maintain a income, in order to bring home the bacon, because we had little kids at home. And while our kids are both adults and still live with us, one is 19, just graduated with his bachelor's in chemistry, has been trying to get into PhD programs, but with the slashes in research funding and everything else here in the United States, it's slim pickings. And our other son is profoundly and severely disabled. And so, he will probably always be dependent on us. So despite all that, even though they're still living with us, I told my husband, this is our time. And we need to nurture our identities and our dreams. And we're never going to get this chance again. In other words, we're the youngest we're ever going to be, right? That's true for all of us. And so it was really good to see him going from a place of not really doing anything to trying something out, dipping his toes in the water and just doing something, right? Focusing on something creative, even if it was different, because I really wanted to encourage that. And then it dawned on me, wait, if you've ever worked on a laptop, it ain't exactly ergonomic. So I had an old mechanical keyboard that my husband found at the thrift store for $3.99, and I painstakingly replaced all the keycaps on it because it was missing some, and I'm just going to replace all of it. So it's a really good quality, heavy duty, metal cased keyboard, and I hooked that up to his laptop, and I realized that as we were working there side by side every single afternoon, I was really enjoying working next to somebody so that I wasn't working in a silo or in isolation. And I think I don't want to speak for him, but I really got the impression that he really enjoyed having almost the accountability. It was like an appointment we had with each other, even though we weren't talking. Like I said, literally, he was, hitting the keys, and I was writing him a notebook and filling out my index cards. But we realized we really enjoyed that. And so here we go again. We have turned the incubator, which was was supposed to be an analog only space, we've turned it into our studio space. And so the area is not finished yet. It won't be completed till next weekend because I ordered two narrow but not too deep tables to put against the wall. I'm going to create kind of a T-shaped area. So we're going to keep our wood table that I got off of Facebook Marketplace, which is the perfect size. We're going to keep that in the middle. And then I'm going to put two long, narrow tables against the wall to create like an L-shaped desk for each of us. And so, yeah, I'm working on that. We're calling it our studio space. And I personally am going to use the studio space for writing, period, end of story. And I love working there because, one, I get to work next to him. It's always, even if you're working on your own project, it's never good to be in isolation. At least I don't like it. I feed off energy and I feed off connection with other people, even if it's just sitting in silence working. I like that. And two, it's by our huge sliding glass door. So I'm getting sunlight. I'm getting actual daylight for the first time in probably, well, how long have I been in here? 5 years. I've been working in this closet. So, well, I'm going to keep this closet as my workspace, my office space for my regular job, curriculum writer, and filming YouTube videos and such, and probably editing and laying books out and so on and so forth. My actual writing is going to be taking place in our studio space now. So hence my computer has been taken down there. But yeah, that's been fun to have that project. However, it's kind of eaten into my writing time because I have had to tear things up, take computers apart, take down shelves, order new shelves, install them. And I'm not real happy to say I've dropped a little coin on this, dropped a little money on this. However, I think it's going to pay dividends in the long run. And I had a point to all this. I got excited to share about all these changes. But it was interesting to me because I asked Jason if he was enjoying the incubator, the analog space. And it was obvious to me he was because he was using it. But I wanted to know how he was feeling. And he said, yeah. He didn't realize just how much he hated sitting at his computer space, his workspace that he did have. And I bit my tongue, which is really hard for me to do, because I wanted to hear more. I wanted to hear from him. I said, oh, really? What do you mean by that? Essentially, tell me more. And he said he didn't realize how much he hated that area. And at first, I thought it was because it had gotten really cluttered, which it had. Our cats love sitting in his area. But it dawned on me that he has been working literally 24/7 because when he was working I don't want to give the name of the company. When he was working there, he literally was working sometimes well into the evenings and really early in the day because he was meeting with people worldwide to do some of these meetings. And so they were on different time zones, obviously. It dawned on me that not only had he been working there at this job where he got let go, but that's where he got let go. He was at his workstation here at home, and he did his exit interview there in that computer station. And why I had, talk about running back to what hurt you, right? Having to sit there. And I don't know if he thinks about that, but it is like returning to the scene of trauma. Talk about having to relive things. And I don't know why I hadn't thought about that before, but I'd have PTSD if my only work area at home was the exact same place where I had been working at this job that unceremoniously, had ceremoniously let him go in a lot of traumatic different ways. Oh God, it was awful. It was awful. It was awful. So yeah, I don't know why I hadn't thought about this before. Of course, the man needs another place, right? And so right now I'm working on setting up the studio space for us both to enjoy and both to benefit from. It's actually in our old formal dining room, which never was a formal dining room because we don't. That's not us. We're not formal. I've shared that in another video. But I'm eventually going to hopefully twist his arm to doing a little quick redesign or clear out of his other work area because I do think it's important we both have our solo spaces too. As much as we like to work together and share spaces, we are two very different people. He collects and loves gaming, including vintage gaming, and I love and collect stationery. And I keep a very tidy desk and a tidy work area. And Jason, let's just say he's a lot more chill than I am. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I had this huge I had no idea he was struggling with that. And I guess it was kind of like a duh moment for me. I should have known that. I should have realized that because I, of course, would have felt the exact same way. I like my job, but I'm constantly trying to find some autonomy from it because I work from home and have for the past nearly 20 years. And so, in this particular job, it's my 16th year working part time remote. And while I love it, I still feel the need to have some autonomy, some separation from it so that I can prioritize my own projects and my own dreams. And the older my biological son, my typically developing son gets, the more important I see it is to have my own identity and my own set of dreams because don't want to be down and out during empty nester syndrome, right? You talk about nesting when you have a child, but I don't think we talk enough about empty nest when your children go off and leave. And it's interesting because I have this dichotomy of one typically developing, really high functioning child, got his bachelor's degree in chemistry before he was 20 years old. My God, he's a go-getter. But I also have the other one who is also hardworking in his own right, but because of his special needs, he will always be home and always dependent. And so I've got this weird dichotomy because, oh, I miss my Nate, and I know he's going to be leaving the home soon, hopefully. It's so weird. I want him to go. I want him to succeed. And I've got my fingers crossed that he gets into a PhD program that he's applying to. But, because of research and funding, who knows what's going to happen. So I simultaneously, selfishly want him to be here, but unselfishly realize that, no, he's ready and he deserves and needs and should go off and spread his wings and do his own thing because I also simultaneously live with the other side my Mark will never have independence, never, not capable, can't. It's not safe for him or for other people. And so it's interesting to live in that dichotomy. And I also try and remind myself that this means I did my job. I absolutely did my job. I did not have the best situation when I was a young girl. I was not supported. I was not encouraged. I have a lot of ACEs. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And not to get too deep into that, but I very much set out to be a cycle breaker. And I did. I broke that cycle. And so seeing Nate just very succeed and being a very well-adjusted young man who helps others without even trying, it's just part of who he is really incredibly rewarding. However, selfishly, I want to keep him. I want him home. One, he's great company. I genuinely like who he is outside of just being my son. He is a great guy. And so I'm going to miss him when he leaves. But I also simultaneously realize that's why it's insanely important that I nurture my own goals right now and make those a priority. And I'm really trying to encourage Nate to do that as well. And so, yeah, that's an update for this week. So hopefully next week when I jump on for a Talk Tuesday, I'll be able to share some pictures of our new studio space. Studio rolls off the tongue a lot easier and faster than incubator. I was thinking about syllables too. Oh, incubator. Studio is great. And that leaves it wide open so Jason can make that space and use it for whatever he feels the need to. So keep your fingers crossed for me and for Jason, and send us your positive vibes. I hope that having this new workspace really helps him take off, and keep your fingers crossed for me in terms of getting him to sign off on kind of reinventing or at least cleaning out his other work area, because he deserves a fresh start. And it hadn't dawned on me that yes, he was let go about eight months ago now, I think it's last September. He deserves to press restart. And how can you restart something if you're still reminded on a daily, on an hourly basis of that trauma? And that's what it is. They did him no favors after being there for 24 years. So I also tell him too, this is a reminder. I'm just going on and on. I apologize. I'll wrap this up here. It's a reminder to me, and I constantly remind him, no corporation has your back. I don't care what they say. I don't care if they call you family. Big business is out for big business, and they watch their own backs, not yours. And so I really, really, if you're in a position where you have to choose between business or your mental health or your well-being, you need to choose yourself and put yourself first, and make sure you have adequate work-life balance, because if you don't, no one else will. You have to prioritize your number one resource, which is you. So I'm going to leave it there on that note. If you've watched this long, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a like. Trying to increase my subscriber count here. My son, Nate, has an account, and he's like, Mom, I only have like 4 videos up, and I'm already at 4 subs, and I haven't posted in years. And here I am posting constantly. And it's like, I get a couple subs, then I lose a couple, then I gain a couple, then I lose a little. So any likes or comments that you give me, or shares, if you have people that you think might also enjoy my videos, please consider sharing me with them, or sharing me, with them. I had it correct. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and thanks so much for watching again. I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.